Thanks for tuning in to Black Video News right here at the studios. Man, I got a special guest that's going to be here all weekend performing. I'm quite sure you can see this distinguished comedian right here in the BBN studios. Man, we talking actor, we talking voice artist, we talking comedian. From the NYC, Mr. Aries Spears. What's going on, bro?
How you doing, brother? Good.
Man, I'm doing good, man. We got you in the Alamo City, man. Get ready to lay it down at the Improv Comedy Club all weekend. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good, man. You know, I want my viewers to know a little bit about you, Mr. Spears. From the NYC, man. Started doing comedy at 14. You know, what was it like, man, getting into that comedy thing at 14, bro?
You know, it was a trip, man, because I was a fan of Eddie Murphy, like most comics.
Right.
You know, Eddie was the dude in the 80s. So he had such a heavy influence on me, you know, watching him on SNL and Delirious. And, you know, I always kind of been a student of the game. So, you know, even before him, you know, guys like Stephen Fetchit and Mantan Moreland and Moms Mabley and Red Fox and Richard Pryor. So just watching comedy, I'd always been a fan, but Eddie Murphy for me being an 80s baby, he was kind of the main influence.
Right.
It made me want to do it. And then I studied up on him, and I know he started doing it when he was 14.
Yeah.
So, you know, I kind of took that as inspiration to say, hey, man, why not? You know, so I just got into the game early and did a lot of the local clubs in New York and New Jersey, coming up with Bill Bellamy and Terry Hodges and guys like that, and Hamburger Jones, and he was able to just kind of make a name for myself and go through the ranks. So it's been a wild journey, man.
I'm quite sure it has, man. You know, starting in the game that early, but you know, you started in a city where, you know, we talking. You know, you got Harlem, you know, you got Apollo Theater.
Yeah.
It's hard to start out, you know, doing your thing, you know, because of the critics.
Yeah.
And not only do you have to deal with the critics, but you got to deal with the audience in the NYC.
Yeah. Well, you know, black audiences, period, are a tough audience.
That's a tough
but
audience.
in New York, it don't get no tougher than that. So, you know, and for me, I actually had the opposite. I kind of always thought I would do the Apollo first,
right,
and then maybe Def Jam, because right around the time I was like 15, 16, Def Jam had exploded,
right,
and I didn't make the cut the first year,
right,
but the second year is when I did Def Jam, and by then I was 16 years old, and I had done Def Jam, and then I had done Showtime at the Apollo the next year.
Wow.
And I'm glad it probably worked out that way, because if I had done the Apollo and got a cold reception, it might have shook my confidence, and who knows where I'd be. But Def Jam happened first, and I did well there, so that gave me the confidence I needed to kind of go, all right, let me do this Apollo thing and just survive. And I did more than survive. I did pretty good, so that kind of put me on the path to going, all right, now I've done it twice here in New York,
right,
on a major level,
right,
or what was major for me at the time.
No, they weren't major though.
And it did well, so I stuck around.
You stuck around, man, and then you started, you know, when you started that too, also, you started the creativity with, you know, with the voice artists, because you've done so many voices.
Yeah.
Man, that's just a natural gift, huh?
Yeah, it really is. That's something you can't teach.
Right.
You know, it's kind of like music, man. You know, you might be able to give people technique, a little bit of technique in terms of singing, but at the core of it, you've got to have the talent. And if you don't have the talent and an ear for tone, inflection, riffs, rhythm, and, you know, the things that come along with music, then, you know, that's something you can't be given. Right. So with the impression game, it's like, you know, and plus my mother is a jazz and blues singer, so I think I inherited that's true. That ear for tone, inflection, and certain rhythms and stuff like that. So yeah, God gave me something on that.
Your mom was a vocalist in the jazz too, right?
Yeah, she's a vocalist.
So you grew up, man, in this entertainment game.
I came up listening to all that. You know, one of my first impressions ever was Louis Armstrong.
Wow.
Yeah, because
Louis.
Yeah, because my mother and father, when they would have sex, they would play Louis Armstrong. So I knew when the door was closed, and I heard potato, you say tomato. I said, oh, Pops is banging it out. So Louis has been a blessing and a curse.
He was one of the first ones that you did.
Yeah, man. man, Pops and Louie was going hard against moms.
So when you did Louie, Mr. Spears, was that kind of like, okay, I got something going here. Let me see how far I can go with this thing, man.
You know, once you put your toe in the water and you can feel the temperature, then you start to get more and more. All right, now I can kind of put a little bit more in and go a little bit deeper. And I was always I was kind of a latchkey kid too.
Right.
You know, moms had to work 2 jobs. Pops wasn't around at the time, so when I would come home from school, I was right in front of that TV, man. And a lot of TV raised me. So
right.
You know, Cosby, and they just kept going and going. And at that time, WWF was so major, and so you know, Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Savage. I absorbed all that stuff, man.
Yeah, that's when wrestling was a lot of fun. It's
yeah.
But man, growing up, you know, doing that, and then so here we are, 1997. You know, 3 years in the Mad TV.
Right.
You get on the scene. Mm-hmm. And then you spend, what, 10 years? 8 years, 2005?
Yeah.
So, 8 years, 2005, you doing, man, what was that like, man, being on that set, man? Doing all of those different impressions and just kind of taking your talent to a whole nother level, man.
You know, it's like, for me, I never went to college, so that was kind of my fraternity. And there was a point in time, I mean, you know, Mad TV had a 14-year existence, and no show outside of SNL has seen that kind of longevity. So, but the thing is, the longer you're around, there's ebb and flows, because no one is on top forever. So I don't care how good a show is. Writers change, cast members change, which means quality changes.
Yeah.
So there was a point in time where during its 14-year run, I would say from seasons 3 till about 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, about maybe 7.
Right.
But really 3 to 6, where it was just a well-oiled machine. I mean, if we had our version of SNL, it would have been like, you know, when Gilda Radner and Bill Murray and Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd, when they were that show in the 70s, I think kind of we had a stretch where we were that show with Will and Nicole and Deborah, Mo, Michael, Alex, myself.
Yeah, that was a crazy cast.
We was all working on all cylinders, man.
Right.
You know, and then, you know, as the show got older and certain key cast members left, you know, other good ones came in. You know, Key and Peele and forget her name, but Nicole. We had another girl named Nicole Parker.
Right.
Ron. You know, they were great, but writers had changed and certain key people changed. So the show was still good, but I don't think it was the powerhouse that it was from seasons 3 to 6.
Yeah, that's hilarious, man.
Yeah,
that cast was crazy.
Yeah, it was, and that's what was so fun for me is, you know, that was, like I said, that was my fraternity. You know, me and Will was like my white black brother. You know what I mean? Mo was my girl, and Deborah was like my sister. And,
right.
And Michael was a cool, funny cat. You know, he a little sarcastic and at times had a little bit of a Simon Cowell edge to him.
Yeah.
On and off the set, but it worked for the show.
Yeah.
And it added to the chemistry. So I loved it, man.
That was some straight grooming.
I loved it, man. I loved it, you know.
Man, you know, you do so many, man. And, you know, I was talking about that. You do so many voices.
Yeah.
What's some like the favorite voices, you know, from an Aries Spears perspective that you like to, you know, let our audience or let your fans hear?
You know, I'm like a mother on welfare with 15 kids. I love mom. I'm more like Catherine Jackson than Joe Jackson. I don't have a favorite. You know, I love mom. I'm sure Catherine loved Tito.
Right, yeah, so they're like your children. You love them all.
But, you know, Joe, I think, cared a little bit more for Michael than anybody. I probably dig the ones that might be new. You know what I mean? Like if I come up on a new one, like it's funny, like people will come to my show and be like, man, you ain't do no impressions. Well, it's like on my first stand-up special, Hollywood Look, I'm Smiling, I did a gang of them.
Right.
And I didn't really want to hit the same ones twice on my latest special, Comedy Blueprint. So only two I really did was Stallone and Jason Statham.
Right.
Only because I hadn't done them before. And so it's not like I'm against doing them, but if I don't have anything I think unique or great to bring to it, I don't just want to do it. I think some cats in the comedy game, when they do impressions, they just do the voice, but there's no substance behind it. That's one I thought was so brilliant about Eddie Murphy. Watching Delirious was when he did those impressions in the first 20 minutes of the act. He didn't just go, hey, here's my Mr. T or here's my Ralph Cramden. He had a great joke to go with it. And I think when you marry those two in terms of the material and the impression, it makes for gold.
Yeah, that's some good chemistry.
That's some good chemistry. And so here it is. And if the setup is, listen, at the end of the day, if he's made peace within himself about who he is and him not being where he is, even though I'm sure he knows he should be bigger, but if he's made peace with being who he is and never straying from that, then that's Paul. But that to me, if and we'll never know unless Paul were to tell you, but we'll never know. But if Paul had ever yearned to be on that level, that almost reminds me of that Dave Chappelle sketch when keeping it real goes wrong. Maybe he kept it too real. But again, that might be from our outside looking in. Yeah. But we might say, wow, Paul should have maybe not kept it so real. But again, Paul lives in Paul's skin, and if that's what worked for him, and he's made peace with that, and it don't bother him that he never really got the credit he should have got, well then kudos to Paul, man. Because like I said, when I did Paul, my whole thing was, a quick story. I wanted Paul Mooney at one point to be a writer on Mad. Because again, from seasons 3 to 6, we were smoking, and I just thought, man, how could we get even better? Like, man, if you put somebody like Paul, who's edgy and who can go there, and we're a show that's edgy and goes there, take us over the top. So I had really pulled some strings to get Paul to come meet with the powers that be over in Mad. And Paul shot himself in the foot like he does so many times because he's Paul. So after the meeting, I go, Paul, man, how did it go? Homie, I'm too real, homie. They don't want me, I'm too real. I walked into the meeting and they said, Paul, do you know our show? I said, of course I know it. You've stolen from me. All of you have. I invented comedy. First you stole niggas, then you stole my material. So that was it. He didn't get the job. That was it. But that, again, that's Paul, man. So again, whatever impression I try and do, I want to give it that bite. I want to give it something so people can go, yeah, man, the voice was on point, but damn, the joke behind it. Man, what's next, man? I know you're here all weekend, man, but what's next you want to do in this comedy game? Or I think right now I'm on God's good humor. People ask me a lot, man. They go, man, don't you want to do movies? Of course. But they say that like I'm choosing not to do it. This is a funny game, man, and you got to tread lightly. I'm trying to find that medium between being who I am and being faithful and true to myself and not straying from that, but at the same time straying from that, because again, in this game, depending on how you step can affect your career. And my steps always ain't always been right. You know what I mean? So I don't want to do no soft shoe and do the jazz hands. But I'm learning. I got to figure out how to step, because this game. Like I had lunch with Chris Rock one time, and I was trying to see if I can get him to produce something for me. And we had this meeting, and at the end of the meeting, he basically goes to me, look, man, all I can do is offer you this advice. Stay as funny as you can, keep writing, and try not to piss these white folks off. So
that was it, huh?
That was it. So I've ruffled some white feathers along the way, and maybe some black ones too. But I'm trying to figure it out. I would love to do movies. I think I should be doing movies. But this is a weird game. So until you're in, you're not in, and trying to get in is it's a tough task.
Well, yeah, man. Well, we're looking forward to this weekend. You're gonna be here all weekend.
Yeah, man. 7:30 and 10, right?
Yeah.
Tonight, 2 shows, 7:30 and 10. Saturday, 7:30 and 10, and Sunday 1 show at 8.
At 8 o'clock at the Improv downtown, the River Center Improv Comedy Club. Mr. Aries Spears is gonna be there, man. I'm looking forward to it, man. Thanks again, man. Leave us with something, man. Leave me with one of them crazy voices. Leave our audience with something crazy.
All right,
man.
I'll tell you what. Let's do Shaq
Diesel,
Cosby, and try to see Denzel. So we'll go through each one of them. Just you're interviewing them.
Okay.
And you, whatever.
All right. How you doing today, Shaq? What's going on, man? Shaq, man, you retired. What you doing now? I see you on TNT all the time.
I have a lot of fun with Chuck and Kenny. We like brothers on TNT for the season, for the playoffs. And you know, basketball is my life. I might not be on the court, but now I'm the big commentator.
So what's up, man? How them kids, all them kids you got, man? What you doing, man? You ain't married no more? What's going on with Shaq, man?
I'll probably get married again at some point. I believe in love. You know, my kids are good. You know, I tell them they can be whatever they want to be. Just got to go out and give it 100%.
All right, Shaq, man, we love you, man. Bill, Mr. Cosby.
Yes. I want to first and foremost say it didn't do what to say it did, you see. A lot of times when you make a young lady a drink, you want to make her a special cocktail with more emphasis on the first word and not the second.
So no pudding, huh?
No pudding. You know, I sold pudding for a lot of years, and between selling it and spewing it, I've had my fill of the pudding.
Well, let's go to Denzel. You said Denzel, right? Now Denzel, man, you played Malcolm X.
Yeah.
You played all these different roles.
Yeah.
And we saw the good guy roles, Ricochet, all of those different moves. But then you go to Training Day. Training Day, man. You was nuts in Training Day. What's up with that character?
I mean, you know, I've done so many characters. So many good guys. Everybody was saying you got to do something different. So all right, I said I'm gonna do something different. I decided to do a different kind of character, and I said if this doesn't work, John Q was coming. So you know, as an actor, you just want to try to show a lot of different range and do a lot of different things and make it memorable for me.
I'm trying to hold this here, man. But you know, before we sign out, DMX, he been going through a lot in life, but man, DMX, what's going on, man? Are you getting it together or what, man? It's been too many years.
Yeah, no, it's real. You know what I mean? You know, I'm trying to become at one with the Lord. You know what I mean? So it is weird. You know, I'm working on a gospel album. You know what I mean?
You going from that type of rap to gospel? You shifting gears like that?
Yeah. My first song is called "God Is the Shit." It's gonna be a great song. You know what I mean? It's a lot of things about holiness in Christ.
What's up with that title though?
I mean, but it's real though. You know, God spoke to me one day. I was walking down the street and God said, "Yo X." I said, "Yo G." He said, "Yo, you need to make a song about me." I said, "Nigga, I got you."
I can't take it no more. Man, he's going to be at the Improv all weekend. Man, I want to thank Mr. Spears for being on BBN. Man, thanks a lot, man. We love you, bro, man. Keep up the good stuff, man. Aries Spears all weekend at the Improv. This is Keith Scott. We'll see you next time right here on Black Video News, man. Be encouraged.
Nothing to do this week? Don't miss another event. Go to blacksinsanantonio.com for our event calendar. The home of the largest business directory in San Antonio with an African American focus. Sign up today for our weekly e-blast and text message alerts. Help us make this a better community. Connect, empower, grow.
Thank you, San Antonio. It's time for the Black Book premiere, Saturday, July 15th at the Call. Come kick it with me, your best friend J. Cole. The special guest performance by Michael Ward, Kyle Turner, and Billy Ray Shepard. For more information, call 226-1939. It's the #1 party of the year. It's the official all-white martini party at the Henry Gonzalez Convention Center, Saturday, August 12th. Hey, come spend time with old friends and meet some new friends too, as you step with the best and party with the elite until 2 a.m. It's the 9th annual all-white martini party, Saturday, August 12th at Henry Gonzalez Convention Center, brought to you by the South Chapter of the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. All-white attire and dress code strictly enforced. It's the
Nothing to do this week? Don't miss another event. Go to blacksinsanantonio.com for our event calendar. The home of the largest business directory in San Antonio with an African American focus. Sign up today for our weekly e-blast and text message alerts. Help us make this a better community. Connect, empower, grow.
Thank you, San Antonio. It's time for the Black Book premiere, Saturday, July 15th at the Call. Come kick it with me, your best friend J. Cole. The special guest performance by Michael Ward, Kyle Turner, and Billy Ray Shepard. For more information, call 226-1939. It's
Nothing to do this week? Don't miss another event. Go to blacksinsanantonio.com for our event calendar. The home of the largest business directory in San Antonio with an African American focus. Sign up today for our weekly e-blast and text message alerts. Help us make this a better community. Connect, empower, grow. Nothing.
I want to thank you all for tuning in to Black Friday Live. I'm your host, Keith Scott, where we always come with the latest broadcasts and hot topics and subject matter, and with a special guest. Today's special guest, I got Mrs. Donetta Johnson right here on the Black Friday set with Evolution's Travel Agency. How you doing, Mrs. Johnson?
I am blessed and highly favored.
How's everything going, man? I see you representing today with Evolution Travel in the house right here on Black Friday.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about the company, Evolution Travel. Tell them of yours.
Well, I started with Evolution Travel about 3 months ago. We're a travel agency, home base.
Okay.
The travel is endlessly. You can just travel all over the country with your family and your friends. And I thought about why not travel and get paid for doing it.
Right.
So that's what I'm doing right now.
So you and Mr. Johnson are doing this, right? You're
Yes.
kind of doing this together?
Yes, it's also a group of ladies that are all doing it. So
Okay.
I call the Travel Divas.
The Travel Divas?
Yes, it's 11 of us.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. So they're all a part of Evolution Travel?
Yes.
And do you all, as far as traveling yourselves, do you all travel as a group with divas?
We
or
travel as a group.
Wow.
Wineries, we go on cruises.
Tell my viewers a little bit about this diva travel thing you got going on with Evolution Travel.
So I have a friend, her name is Coco Angela Hartnett. She started with Evolution. So she called us and asked us to join. So we all joined. So we're all getting our training done.
Okay.
And we're going to take cruises together. And we're going to take all kind of trips together. We just came off of a winery trip Saturday.
Right, right.
And we visit 6 different wineries, and they fed us.
Oh, wow.
We had a good time. That's a good promotion.
So all of this is open to the public when we talk about, going to these different places through you guys and your company. But what are some of the other things that you guys do as far as cruises? What do you offer?
We offer cruises, we offer hotels, we offer flights, and also we offer car rentals. So
you're doing it, kind of covering all the bases.
Hitting all the bases, yes.
All the travel. I want to give a shout out to Coco, because I know Coco's been putting in work too also. And I know you're affiliated. We'll talk more about you and the committee on the Steppers Ball, because we covered that last year. Yeah. But tell us a little bit more about Evolution Travel, Mrs. D.
Evolution Travel is just a home-based business, basically, to get, extra income. The reason I did it was for the tax breaks. So, it helps me out with my taxes, and I don't have to worry about paying extra money on taxes. Family and friends can go on vacations, cruises. So yes.
So for my viewers, somebody that's out there that's interested in becoming a travel agent, what are some of the hurdles that they have to jump over to become a travel agent?
There's really not a lot of hurdles to jump over. You start with $69.
Okay.
And you sign up, you take your credentials, and you get an IATA number. Also, you keep your $69 monthly fee. And for $69, you get a lot of different perks. And it's endless. You get all your travel credentials. You get all your different training. You have all options open to training.
Okay. So how much training do you need to become a travel agent?
It's open.
It's open?
You get all kinds of training. You can be a Princess Cruise specialist, which I just got my Princess Cruise certificate. You can become a hotel Marriott specialist.
Wow.
You can become a Disney specialist.
Wow.
So it's endless.
So there are a lot of different entities that you can get involved to make money, of course.
Make money.
And have fun.
And get paid while you do it.
What's some of the things that you guys do as far as, taking care of your clients? Because, one of the things I always say, we got to always kind of be tentative to our clients' needs. What are some of the things that you guys are doing over at Evolution Travel Agency to bring people to you, and then also to keep them coming to your agency?
Well, just lately, we just had a travel party. So that's how we are bringing in our clients. We have travel parties, and we feed them, and we have wine, and we sit down with them and listen to what they want, and we try to make sure that we get the lowest price possible for all their needs that they need.
Wow. And you said you just had a travel party, a mixer, right?
Yes, we
had a
mixer on Saturday.
How did that turn out?
It turned out nice. We had 5 of our travel agents. We set up our tables really nice, and we handed out different brochures. And we also gave a training on how to become a travel agent. So we did a presentation.
Okay, so you do a little bit of training too also for those that tour the mixers?
Yes.
Okay, and I know you do some other things too, and I want to touch on some of the other things, and I know you guys have a catering company too also.
Yes.
What's the name of the catering company?
It's called Heavenly Creations Barbecue.
Heavenly Creations Barbecue. Tell us a little bit about Heavenly Creations Barbecue.
So me and my husband decided to start Heavenly Creations Barbecue about 7 years ago. He loves to barbecue. He thinks he's the barbecue pit master.
I know a lot
right now, nobody wants to compete against him in a contest.
They don't?
They'd rather for him to be the judge.
Wow.
So we just do, basically we do family reunions, weddings, birthday parties. He does the cooking. I do all the sides. So I do all the baking, the pastries, the potato salad, and macaroni and cheese, and stuff like that. So
you're basically, it's all about catering, right?
Yes.
When we talk about Heavenly Barbecue?
Yes, all about catering.
Okay. So for those that are interested in Heavenly Barbecue, and I want you to leave them some information too about that. But I know you have a full-time job too, Mrs. D. You are a busy lady. And I know you're in the healthcare profession too, right? How long have you been in the healthcare profession?
I've been in the healthcare profession since I was 16.
16. So you've been putting in work a minute.
Yes.
Tell my viewers a little bit about what you do, because I know you got a couple of facilities, and I want my viewers to know a little bit about what you do, your main position, when we talk about the healthcare industry. My main position right now is I'm a director of a mental health facility. We are with the Center for Healthcare Services. We have a contract with them, who's our mental health authority. My company is called the Wood Group. They've been in business since 1989. We house 16 mental health clients. Okay. We also have a children's unit on West Avenue, which houses 6 children. Okay. ACOG. So, yeah. So the mental, so you have an adult center?
Yes.
And you have a youth center?
Yes.
Now, what does the youth center consist of when we talk about the kids, the youth that are in there? What are some of the issues that they're dealing with, Mrs. D?
Basically, a lot of our youth is autism,
Okay.
artistic. So that's what we deal with through ACOG, with autistic children.
And then the adults, is it autism? Is it kind of
No,
the
our
same
adults
thing?
is mainly mental health.
Mental health?
Yes.
Okay.
We get our clients from 601 Frio, the crisis unit. So when they come in, it's a temporary 90-day facility.
Okay.
They come in, they get set up with a caseworker, they get set up with a psychiatrist.
Okay.
We manage their meds. We cook them 3 wonderful meals a day.
Okay.
And they stay there for 90 days to move on in life.
Well, tell my viewers where these facilities, because if someone is out there looking at this segment today, maybe someone needs this information. Where are these facilities located, Mrs. D?
Okay, well, with our group, you have to come in with the crisis unit at 601 Frio and see a psychiatrist. They will then refer you to the Cloud Haven unit. My unit is 127 Cloud Haven, and you will get hooked up with a caseworker and a psychiatrist, and then we take it from there.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Well, thanks for sharing that info. Now, I want to shift gears a little bit because it's that time of the year, and that's why I wanted to give a shout out to Coco, where the stepping is going down right here in the Alamo City. Did you bring a flyer?
Yes, I did. I did bring a flyer.
Let my viewers know a little bit about this chocolate bar, the Big Texas Throwdown.
So we're having the chocolate ball, Big Texas Throwdown, July the 5th through the 8th, 2018. It's gonna be bananas. We have our special guest that's gonna be here, Chris Youngblood.
Okay.
He's a country and western singer.
Okay, so you got some entertainment this year.
Made a single
Okay.
and it veered out into the stepping community.
Okay.
And we're gonna have Nicole Mitchell coming. We're gonna be giving awards to Mikhail Farrell, which is our Shorty Smooth. He's a DJ in Milwaukee.
Okay.
And he's one of the stepping DJs all over the country. Also, Sarah Teagle. She's one of our steppers. She's going to be one of the teachers, teaching one of the workshops. So we're going to have 8 different workshops. The event is 4 days.
Right.
Thursday through Sunday.
You mean to tell me they're going to be stepping for 4 days?
We're going to step for 4 days.
Wow.
Breakfast and dinner.
Wow.
Yes.
So you're going to have some breakfast stepping,
We're having a breakfast,
some lunch stepping, some dinner stepping, and some late night stepping. It's going down in the Alamo City. Can I take a look at that flyer?
Sure.
Yeah, so we got the Big Texas Throwdown, the chocolate ball. It's going down July 5th through the 8th. Got a lot of performances. It's going to be at the La Quinta Inn, right, Sweets?
Yes.
On the Riverwalk,
On the
huh?
Riverwalk.
It's going to be exciting, huh?
Yes.
So for more information, they can call 866-527-1498 for this chocolate ball. The Unified Steppers of Texas, man. This is going to be hot, huh?
Gonna be bananas.
Well, I want you to leave my viewers with a little information. If they're interested in Evolution Travel, how can they get more information and contact you, Mrs. D?
Well, if you need more information for Evolution Travel, you can contact me at heavenlycreationstravel@gmail.com, or you can call me on my cell 210-454-2309.
All right, well, I want to thank you. It's going down. This is a nice, attractive flyer. Maybe we can come out and see what's going down. Shout out to Miss Coco. I want to thank you for being on my show today, Mrs. D.
Well, you're very welcome. I also have gifts. I come with gifts.
You come bearing gifts?
I come bearing gifts.
Oh, my goodness. She's got gifts for Black Friday Live today. What'd you bring?
So, I would like to present you for having me here.
Yes, ma'am.
A vacation getaway for 3 days and 2 nights.
Wow.
Of your choice.
Wow, that is so nice. A vacation getaway, huh?
Yes. Also, for your wife or your daughter, I'm giving you a voucher for $100 off for Mason Studios.
Okay.
So, there
Well,
we go.
thank you so much,
For a
Mrs.
photo
D.
shoot.
Wow, that is so nice and thoughtful of you. Well, she came bearing gifts today on Black Friday Live. Man, we got a little more to cover today, so I want to thank my guest today, Mrs. D, with Evolution Travel. Her and her husband are laying it down, Heavenly Barbecue. How can they get this Heavenly Barbecue, too? Give them a little information or email address on this Heavenly Barbecue.
Heavenly Barbecue, you can email me at danettajohnson@gmail.com, DANETTAJOHNSON@gmail.com. Or you can call me at 454-2309 or hit me up on my Facebook page.
Well, I want to thank Mrs. D. Hey, Evolution's Travel Agency, Heavenly Barbecue. Stay logged on right here at Black Friday Live for more. Thanks, Mrs. D.
Thank you, San Antonio. It's time for the Black Book premiere. Saturday, July 15th, at the Call. Come kick it with me, your best friend, J. Cole. The special guest performances by Michael Ward, Kyle Turner, and Billy Ray Shepard. For more information, call 226-1939. It's the #1 party of the year. It's the official all-white martini party at the Harlem Renaissance Convention Center, Saturday, August 12th. Hey, come spend time with old friends and meet some new friends too, as you step with the best and party with the elite until 2 a.m. It's the 9th annual all-white martini party, Saturday, August 12th at Harlem Renaissance Convention Center, brought to you by the South Chapter of the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. All-white attire and dress code strictly enforced.
Nothing to do this week? Don't miss another event. Go to blacksinsanantonio.com for our event calendar. The home of the largest business directory in San Antonio with an African American focus. Sign up today for our weekly e-blast and text message alerts. Help us make this a better community. Connect, empower, grow.
I want to thank you all for joining right here at Black Friday Live. I told you I was coming back right here at Black Friday Live. Today's segment. Today's other guest right here at Black Friday Live. I'm excited. One of my favorite professors in the country, Professor Frederick Williams. How you doing, Professor?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
Man, I love the shirt.
Hey,
man.
thank you. All my heroes.
Man, those are some great heroes. Yep. Professor Langston Hughes, Alex Haley, a bunch of them.
James Baldwin.
Mr. Dunbar, Paul Lawrence Dunbar.
Yeah.
Man, I grew up reading a lot of that stuff with those guys.
Didn't we all? Definitely.
Well, I want you to tell my viewers a little bit about who Professor Williams is and also the curriculum that you helped form at UTSA, Professor.
Okay. All right. Well, where to start?
Let's start with UTSA.
Okay. I guess it was about 2004, 2005. Dr. Richard Gambetta, Dr. Rudy Rosales asked me to come over. I was teaching over at Northwest Vista College at the time. Okay. So they needed to establish a Black Studies, African American Studies minor.
Right.
And would I help? And I said, I'd love to. So we put together the minor, and I wrote the programs, everything. And I have to say, I taught most of the courses when it first got started. I taught a course on, Intro to African American Studies.
Right.
I taught a course on African American politics.
African American politics.
I taught a course on African American political thought. And the interesting thing about that course is the other professor said, African American political thought? What is that? Like we don't think.
Well, tell my viewers a little bit about that segment, that program.
Oh, African American political thought?
Yeah, African American political thought.
Sure, absolutely. When we had some very deep thinkers, of course, Frederick Douglass and some others.
W.E.B. Du Bois.
What happens is we look at how are we going to survive in this country.
Right.
After slavery. There's two ways of thinking. There's what's called the accommodationists, or assimilationist, I'm sorry, assimilationist approach. Frederick Douglass was the assimilationist approach.
Right.
That if we be good, if we work hard, if we live up to white man's standards, they'll accept us
Okay.
in the society. The other was the separatist approach.
Right.
That nowhere ever will white America accept black America as equals into this country. That drives the debate. So you come forward to Du Bois and you come forward to Booker T. Washington.
Right.
They're both assimilationists.
Right. Okay.
They believe that we eventually can assimilate into this society.
Okay.
Of course, now that's where you get into the accommodationists as opposed to the protests. The accommodations with Booker T. Washington. Accommodate. Do what they want you to do and they'll accept you. He probably comes off of where Frederick Douglass, but a little more extreme.
Right.
Du Bois says no, protest. We can assimilate, but we have to protest. We have to fight for what we can have. We have to fight for voting rights and break down of segregation. So those are two different thoughts as we've gone along. So all of a sudden here you come in the middle with Marcus Garvey.
Okay. Going back to Africa.
Back to Africa.
Okay.
He is more the separatist. We can never assimilate into this country.
Right.
And now you keep going forward, you come up to Martin Luther King, and you come up to Malcolm X, and you have the same kind of debate. Malcolm X saying that we will never be able to assimilate into a white man's country. Now, he changes after his trip to Africa. Come back, now he's looking at it, and breaks with the nation. Now he's looking at it a little differently, okay? King is always the assimilationist, but not the accommodationist. King is the assimilationist along the lines of Du Bois protests.
Right.
A different kind of protest, however.
Right. Very different type of protest.
Different, civil disobedience.
Right.
So that was the course, that was the outline of the course. And we read from each one of these writers. And we used to get in some great debates in that classroom. Then
I can imagine. I would have loved to have been in that classroom. Yeah. I'm a little history buff myself.
Then we did Afro-American politics.
Right.
And I recall it was just before Obama was elected. I threw out to the class, of course I had a lot of African-American students. They got angry. I said, look for Obama to get elected, he cannot be seen as a black president. Okay. And he can't concentrate on black issues. Oh, why? So because we're only, 10% of the country. Right. In order to get elected president, you have to have the other parts, the other percentages of the whites, Hispanics, everyone else.
We the people.
And sure enough, see, I argue that Obama started his career by running for office on the south side of Chicago because he had to build a political career. So he wins as a state senator in Chicago. Now, at that point, he belongs to brother Jeremiah Tate. Was it Jeremiah?
I know you're talking.
Yeah, the minister.
The minister.
He belongs to his church.
Right.
Was
it White?
Jeremiah White, right.
Right, yeah.
So he's backing all these radical issues, all black oriented because he's elected by a black constituency. Okay, his next step is United States Senate. He starts to move away from that because now it's not just the blacks that can elect him. Now he has to go out into the countryside in Illinois and get white votes. Right. So he's moved somewhat away from us. Final thing is when he announces for president, he doesn't even invite Jeremiah Wright. So he's moved all the way away. And so that's why Cornel West argues, and a lot of people get angry at Cornel West, because Cornel West argues that he never concentrated on black issues. Right. So there's no way in the world you can consider him. He just happened to be a president who happened to be black. Okay.
And we're talking about Dr. Cornel West, right?
Dr. Cornel West,
okay.
Yeah. So now, we had that course. I also taught a course on the Harlem Renaissance. I love that course, man. That we talked about
such a short segment of history and time.
History, yeah, but it's such an important segment of our history.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the Harlem Renaissance. Absolutely, a little bit because it was just a short segment, less than 10 years,
less
right?
than 10 years.
Yeah, let's touch on that. Tell my viewers a little bit about Harlem Renaissance and the African American back in those days.
Okay, what's happening is we're having a great migration of blacks out of the South. Right. And so the large migration is towards New York and then towards Harlem. Now, that's usually blacks coming from the southeast, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida,
Right.
Virginia. They come up into New York. But also, blacks from other parts of the country come to New York. Because what you do is you have the first time we can express ourselves
Right.
without having to worry about being beat and lynched. I don't know if you recall the poem by Paul Laurence Dunbar, We Wear the Mask. Because
I'm quite familiar with the point.
We can't really say who we are and be who we want to be. We have to wear what mask because of the oppression we're under.
Right.
So now all of a sudden you get these brilliant thinkers, Langston Hughes, coming to New York, going into Harlem. Claude McKay, Comte Cullen, and Wallace Thurman was the best of them all.
Okay.
He came from Los Angeles to Harlem. So the idea is we are now in Harlem, we're in the North, we can express who we are as black people. And so you have two different approaches to that whole idea. You have the W.E.B. Du Bois approach that everything we write has to be to build the image of the black person because it's been torn down so badly by whites with minstrel shows and all this other stuff. And of course you have folks that follow him. Then you have the group called the Bohemians.
Right.
That's Langston Hughes, Wallace Thurman, some of the others. Their idea is we write for who we are. We don't care about if white folks like it or black people like it. We don't care. We write for who we are.
Right.
Now you have that literature. Then you have the music.
The entertainment.
Duke Ellington, Louis Armstrong, all coming into New York, going to play at the Cotton Club. Count Basie, all playing at the Cotton Club.
Right.
Yeah. Then you have the artists. You have the painters. You have that whole what makes up a culture. Right there, and it all explodes for us, and that's why I call that's the beginning of our culture. Right there in Harlem, and it's expanded. I write influenced by the writers of the Harlem Renaissance. I think most writers write that way. We've had a number of programs over at the Carver Library on the Harlem Renaissance. Joe Long Theater, with some of the dance groups come in, who are they emulating? They're emulating the dances coming out of the Harlem Renaissance.
Yeah, that culture's still alive.
That culture's still
alive.
Oh man, it's still kicking. It's beautiful. And unfortunately, we're losing some of it because I don't know why we're just not reaching our kids with it.
Right.
So that was a great course.
Well, you know, a lot of the African American studies, Black history doesn't even seem to have the impact. Black History Month doesn't really seem to have the impact that it used to have.
It doesn't, because we came together in the 60s, in the early 70s. Man, it was beautiful. I had a big old fro, I had my dashiki, and hey brother, what you doing, brother? How you doing, brother?
Yeah.
None of this nigga and dog stuff. I mean, and you better not think about calling a sister a hoe or a bitch. You won't have to whip her, she'll whip you. Okay. And Angela Davis with
man, you came ready today, huh, Professor?
Oh yeah.
You guns are loaded, huh? You got some vocabulary going here, Professor. Let's be real with it. We're having a conversation.
That's what we're doing today. We didn't do that in our days. We love being black. Malcolm said love being black. King said love being black. Yeah. And we're doing that.
The black power.
The black power. James Brown, say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. Everybody loves that song. Even white folks love that song.
Right.
So we were doing it then. What happened is what I would like to find out. What happened that we reverted back to the old ways?
Right.
Okay. I don't know. And let's remember, we get for the first time in 1975, we get Good Times. Thelma is a beautiful sister that's intelligent. She's moral. She's ethical. The whole family. You got little Michael. He's a little genius. JJ. He could paint. People talk about he acted silly all of that. No. Look at what he did with his paintings. So the way they express themselves, was something that we all could be proud of. Yeah. Then suddenly, probably some people say the crack cocaine epidemic had something to do with it, but we lost that, man. We lost it. Now, Paul Robeson said that any actor or actress that's black has more of a responsibility to the black race than to themselves. Now, I want you to check that out, brother. Okay.
Right.
He said before you take a role, you need to see how it's going to impact your race. So what do? We get Denzel Washington playing Training Day. Come on, bad cop. He gets an Academy Award for it.
So how do we revert back to that pride that we used to have, Professor? What are some of the things that we need to do as a culture?
You know, I don't know if it's too late for some of our I don't, that's why I wrote the book Beyond Redemption, because I don't know if it's too late for some of our kids. I'd like to think it's not, but I think we really have to start with our young.
Right.
We have to create images for them of positive role models that are black. They need to read, like my book all ages need to read my book, Fires of Greenwood, the Tulsa Riot.
Yeah, so let's shift gears. We've talked about Professor being a professor at UTSA, but he's a writer and a publisher too.
Right, yes.
So yeah, tell my viewers a little bit about Fires of the Greenwood.
Fires of Greenwood, Tulsa Riot, 1921.
Tulsa Riot, 1921.
In 2008, I received a contract to write a lady's life story, and she happened to be from Tulsa. So I went up there, and she said, "Let me show you where Black Wall Street used to be."
Okay. In Oklahoma.
In Oklahoma, Tulsa. So she took me down Black Wall, where it used to be, and she says, "This was all destroyed because of the Tulsa Riot in 1921." Keith, that was a shame. You know why? I knew nothing about it.
Right.
Nothing about it.
Right.
So I went to the Greenwood Cultural Center there and went through it and saw the pictures of these blacks and the businesses they had and everything.
Yeah.
And I went on a one-person mission to research and write about this.
Right.
So I spent 2 years, literally 2 years, researching everything on Black Wall Street and the Tulsa Riot, and then decided to write. Instead of writing a nonfiction, I decided to write it as fiction.
Okay,
And
so you wrote it as a fiction book.
Yes, because with fiction, you can get your reader right into the story.
Right.
And so when you pick up Fires, I want you to feel like it's right 1921, and you're walking down Greenwood Avenue, or you're going into Little Rose Beauty Parlor,
Yeah.
and you listen to those sisters talk smack as they get their hair done,
Right.
or you're going over to Smithman's newspaper, or J.B. Stratford's
Luxury Hotel. On the corner. Black man.
Black man.
Yes,
then
sir.
across the street you got O.W. Gurley's Hotel.
Right.
Then you have the Dreamland Theater.
Yeah. Dreamland Theater.
Dreamland Theater.
Wow, that's a rich
It
history.
would seat 700.
Right.
When Du Bois came to town, that's where he went to speak. Then you had the Williams Confectionery. They say more engagements were made in that confectionery among the young than anywhere in
Yeah,
Tulsa.
you had seamstress on that block.
Oh, man, you had everything.
The list goes on and
Yeah.
on. So when did you write this book, Professor?
I wrote it in 2014. Now, here was the issue. For a long time, Oklahoma took that out of the history books until a black state legislature, Mr. Ross, insisted that they open it up again. Because after the riot, they had a grand jury, and they indicted all the black folks.
Wow.
They said this was a response to drunk Negroes who were attacking white folks.
Okay.
And so Ross says, "Oh, but this is crazy." So they established a commission to go in and revisit what happened. Eddie Faye Gates was on the commission. And so I went up and visited with her. And she told me all what they had found out, and she gave me a copy of the commission report. I read that thoroughly. Now, here's the deal. Dick Rowland is a black shoeshine boy at 19, and his shoeshine stand is across from the Drexel building.
Right.
So in the colored-only bathroom, it's over there. So he goes over to the Drexel building, goes to the third floor, uses the restroom, comes out. Sarah Page is a 17-year-old white girl who runs the lift. So she goes up, picks him up, comes down to the first floor. She runs up, help, 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 get that nigga, help, help, help. And so this white guy comes over and tries to grab Dick Rowland. He gets away. Next day, they arrest Dick Rowland.
Right.
Now, there is a racist newspaper, it was the Tulsa Tribune.
Okay.
And so they run the article, black boy accosts white girl. Now, back then, that's the code word for rape. Then they can't find this, Keith, they can't find this anywhere now. It's been wiped out of the Tulsa Tribune records.
Okay, so
Because on the editorial page,
history erased.
history erased. On the editorial page, the owner of the Tulsa Tribune put, there will be a lynching today.
Right.
Now, check this out now. You gotta, please follow this thinking. Black guys went to fight in World War I with the promise that when they come back, we would get equality.
Yeah.
So
40 acres and a mule.
All that. Yeah. So they come back. So these brothers go to Tulsa. They see this isn't going to happen.
Right.
But what O.B. Mann tells those white folks is, okay, you're not giving us all what we want, but I can guarantee you, we've been trained. You will not lynch no one black in Tulsa. Now, fast forward to the scene. They get this newspaper, says that there will be a lynching.
Right.
O.B. Mann gets all the veterans together, and they march. Now, they've already arrested Dick Rowland, and Sheriff McCullough is worried because there's a white mob out there getting drunk, said, give us that nigga, give us that nigga. And so McCullough has taken Dick Rowland to the 4th floor, deactivated the lift, put sharpshooters on the roof. So he's told these white guys, you're not going to lynch anyone on my watch. So now he's cooled them down. Lord, all of a sudden what happens? Now check this out. You got all these drunk white guys. Here comes all these black guys across the Frisco Railroad tracks, marching with their rifles on the white side of town up to the courthouse. And McCullough comes out and says, O.B., what are you doing, man? Says, we're making sure that Miss Damie's baby boy doesn't get lynched.
Right.
And so McCullough says, I got this under control. Come on, man, get out of here. I got sharpshooters on the roof. I'm taking to the 4th floor. I've deactivated the lift. They can't get to him. So now all these white guys, they're really getting ticked off because of what's happening. Okay. So now what happens is O.B. is convinced that Sheriff McCullough has it under control. So he and the veterans start to go back on the other side of town. White guy comes up to O.B. Mann and says, nigga, what you doing with that gun on the side of town? O.B. Mann says, I'll shoot you if I have to. He says, no, you won't. He goes for the gun and O.B. Mann shoots and kills him. Now, brother, it's no longer about what Dick Rowland did to Sarah Page or what he didn't do.
Yeah.
It's about these black guys shot this white guy on this white side of town.
Yeah.
And white people went crazy, man. For a day and a half, they went crazy. In fact, a lot of people don't know this because they probably don't know the history. The brothers went back and got their positions. Right. They're trained. And so the white folks, you know, mostly they just run across the tracks and blacks are picking them up. So they retreat, go get every white man, I think, in Tulsa. Plus, folks have told me, be careful about this, but what the heck? Because Sinclair Oil is still around. But Sinclair Oil loaned these white folks airplanes. And they flew these airplanes over the black community and dropped turpentine soap bombs. Blew up everything. So
you're telling the story in the book?
Absolutely, I'm telling this whole story. Now, it got good to these white guys. They were only supposed to blow up the buildings. Now they go into the residential area. Now, our folks only had tissue-thick homes. And if you take a match, they go up. So you know when these turpentine bombs hit, and you had black folks running out, burn up, man. Burn up. And they killed, now this is a conservative figure, they killed over 300 black men, women, and children. But we know the figure is higher because they say during that time, the Arkansas River was just flowing with blood because they're just throwing the bodies into the Arkansas River. And so they burnt 34, I think it's 34 square blocks of Greenwood, burn it down. And now after the mayor sees this thing's out of control, so he calls the governor, tells the governor, look, you gotta get the National Guard down here to stop this. So National Guard comes down from Oklahoma City. They get there at like 8 o'clock in the morning. Right. The general tells his National Guard, go eat breakfast. Can you imagine that? They go eat breakfast, they come back, and here's the pathetic thing. He then says to them, all right, go over there, stop that, send the white folks home, arrest all the Negroes. and they arrested all the Negroes, took them to what was called McNulty Ballpark, locked them up, and it was probably one of the first concentration camps of American citizens ever in this country.
And you're telling the whole story.
The whole story.
From 2 years of research.
2 years of research, yeah.
Wow.
Took me 2 years to write it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where can my viewers get this book, Professor?
Well, they could go on Amazon and get it right now, and they can contact me if they want to get it. And you can contact me by my email. It's fredwilliams at SATX@SamAppleTomX.RR.com.
Well, that's some really good history there. I want you to tell us, I know you've written several different books, you've published several different books, but you're also writing a book right now, Professor, right?
Yes.
Tell my viewers, we got a few more minutes with my segment. Tell my viewers about what your project is right now, what you're writing.
My project right now is to write a novel on the history of Bayard Rustin.
Okay.
And a lot of people don't know who Bayard was, and there's a reason for that. I'll get to that reason. Bayard was the brains behind the civil rights movement.
Right.
He went to Montgomery, Alabama in February 1966 when the Montgomery bus boycott was just starting.
Right.
And he instructed Dr. King in the whole concept of Gandhian nonviolence. Use nonviolence as a means to break down segregation. Prior to that, King really wasn't that deep into nonviolence. Now, what he taught King is that for King the leader, nonviolence cannot just be a tactic. It's got to be a philosophy of life. And he gets that across to King because he visited King's home. When he first got there, he went to King's home, and he was shocked because he saw a gun in King's living room. He said, no, you cannot have a gun at all. Now, for your followers, it could be a tactic that they use now that they may not use later in life, but for you, it's got to be a philosophy. And it became a philosophy for Dr. King. He gave King the whole concept of nonviolence. Also, he was the brains behind the organization of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. After Montgomery is over, he told King, look, you need to get organizational structure behind you to continue to do that. So he wrote the outline to create the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. And then the most important, maybe one of the most important things he did, he organized the March on Washington in 1963. That was Bayard Rustin's baby, his genius, that pulled that off. And that was the most successful march ever in this country's history. Now, why don't we hear about Mr. Bayard Rustin? Because he was gay. Yeah, he was gay. And King accepted him, but a lot of the ministers around King wouldn't accept him. And I think this book is important for a couple reasons, because right now, Keith, as you know, one of the big discussions is the gay movement a civil rights movement?
Right.
And then so people say, well...
That's a huge discussion.
And so they'd say, well, what would King say? Well, I answered that question in that book. I believe I answered that question in that book.
You want to tell us what the answer is? Well, we got to get the book to read.
Well, no, I don't mind telling you from my... Because I'm writing from a point of view of me.
Right, from your perspective. Yeah, from your perspective.
Yes, Dr. King would certainly say it's a civil rights issue. Absolutely, because he totally accepted Bayard Rustin. He depended on Bayard Rustin. And the only reason he turned his back on Bayard Rustin is because of the pressure coming from other ministers. And when he turned his back on Bayard Rustin was in 1960, when they were organizing to march on the Democratic and Republican conventions. Kennedy and his folks were upset that they were going to march because they wanted a smooth convention. And so they got with Adam Clayton Powell and said, Powell, you got to do something to stop this march.
Right.
So Powell calls King and tells him, if you don't back off of doing that march, I'm going to put out the word that you're gay and you're having an affair with Bayard Rustin.
Wow.
Now people don't know that, but they need to know that. Okay. Wow. That's this great Adam Clayton Powell that everybody thinks so much of. He was a demon. He was a devious guy. And so it frightened King. A. Philip Randolph tried to convince him, look, don't worry about that, we can get around that, but he couldn't. And then a lot of pressure was put on him, and he finally broke his relationship with Bayard. But then it comes back again in 1963, but it really ends in 67 when King makes his speech about being against the Vietnam War.
Right.
And Bayard thought it was a bad move.
Well, you got a lot of history there, Professor Williams.
Thank you.
Now, I want my viewers to know, too, that you got a publication, you got a publishing company, too, right?
Yeah, I'm part of a publishing company. I was part of one before, but it didn't work out.
But aren't you and your daughter starting a publication?
she
Well,
has-
give my viewers the publication company, and we're going to sign off right here.
Okay, her company is JAED Publications. It's my daughter, it's Bernadette Stannis, Thelma from Good Times.
Right.
Brother out of Los Angeles, and then my wife, all part of that publishing company. And what they're doing great things because they're looking for books to publish. So if you have something, you can contact her at Teresa@jadepublications.com, and we'll look at your work and we'll be more than happy to consider publishing it.
Well,
So we need positive, good works. Children's stories, teenage stories, adult stories, but don't bring us in a mess.
No mess, huh,
That I'm
Professor?
so sick and tired of people writing stuff, tearing down our race, I could scream. We don't need that. And if you're in this for profit and not passion, don't come visit us, okay? Because we need people that have a passion for our race, for our culture, that love us. And if they're out for the money, I don't want to see it. Now, you can make money.
Right.
But if that's your driving thing, I'm not going to review your stuff.
Well, Professor, I want to thank you
Yes, sir.
for being on my show today.
Thank you.
Some real history, Professor Williams. Hey, my sponsor is Adrienne Weaver Flowers, 603 South Alamo Street. I've been trying to give away a dozen roses. If you want to be on this platform, you can email me at kscott@avistaproducts.com if you want those dozen roses. I want to thank Adrienne Weaver and Terry Martin and his team for being my sponsor today. As always, you never know who's going to be on this show, who's sitting on this couch. I want to thank today's guest for being on Black Friday Live. As always, I'm your host, Keith Scott. We'll see you next time on Black Friday Live. Be encouraged. I want
Thank you, San Antonio. It's time for the Black Book premiere. Saturday, July 15th, at some call. Come kick it with me, your best friend, J. Cole. The special guest performance by Michael Ward, Kyle Turner, and Billy Ray Shepard. For more information, call 226-1939. It's the #1 party of the year. It's the official all-white martini party at the Harlem Renaissance Convention Center, Saturday, August 12th. Hey, come spend time with old friends and meet some new friends too, as you step with the best and party with the elite until 2 a.m. It's the 9th annual all-white martini party, Saturday, August 12th at Harlem Renaissance Convention Center, brought to you by the South Chapter of the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. All-white attire and dress code strictly enforced.
Nothing to do this week? Don't miss another event. Go to blacksinsanantonio.com for our event calendar. The home of the largest business directory in San Antonio with an African American focus. Sign up today for our weekly e-blast and text message alerts. Help us make this a better community. Connect, empower, grow.